Good evening and welcome to This Week from Rockdale. And I am your host, Larry Cox. And it is great to have each and every one of you joining me here this evening. Let's get started with what I would like for you guys to do. If you could share and like the show, that would be great because I know a lot of people are going to want to hear about what we've got to talk about tonight. So I'm going to say hello to some people who are in the chat while you guys are sharing and liking the show so we can build this audience so we can begin to talk about taxes and host credits because I know you're interested to get my take on this interesting bit of knowledge. So, Doug Witham, welcome to the show tonight. Lisa Lancaster, welcome to the show. Mary Boysworth, welcome to the show. William Campbell, welcome to the show. Marie Withers, welcome to the show. Ethel Bland, welcome to the show. Cherokee Ellen, welcome to the show. Angela Aspero, welcome to the show. Jill Oden, welcome to the show. Where is the share button? The share button should be down there at the bottom of the Facebook page that you're on the Facebook page. That's where it should be. And Big Manigo 56, welcome to the show. So a lot of you guys are watching on YouTube. I think you can subscribe on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe so you get the notifications. But guys, this is going to be an interesting show as we talk about some of these numbers as we see what this BOC has done. So the BOC this past Tuesday approved a millage rate that increased taxes 17.58%. But this is a deceptive 17.58% because it's actually a much bigger tax increase than that. It's a delayed tax increase. So what they did was they also approved a host percentage at 64.8%. Last year it was 75%. But they're telling you that you're going to get 100% of the $23 million that is being collected is going to go back into the coffers to offset your taxes. You're also going to be getting the $500 exemption that Governor Kemp has had the legislature approved. So you're getting these two exemptions this year, and they're going to do 100% of the host, which they claim is 64.8%. Then you're going to get the offset of the $500 from the governor. So they say they're going to raise taxes 17.58%. This is actually going to be much bigger of an increase next year because next year you're probably not going to get the 100% and you're not going to get the governor's $500 exemption. So you are going to see a balloon increase next year. These guys, they just played games this year by telling you that you've got this 100% exemption, which comes to 64.8% of, it's going to apply against your, what it'll be 64.8% of your total tax bill is going to be exempted. And then you get the governor's $500. Guys, we are in for a world of hurt next year. A world of hurt next year. We got to look, guys. I think the host collection last year was 18.5, 19 million. It went up $5 million. This time it's $23 million. We're going to supposedly get every dime of that. Plus you're going to get the governor's exemption. Guys, this is big trouble for you, the taxpayers of Rockdale County, because next year when you don't get the governor's exemption, and when you don't get 100% of the host, it's going to be really bad for you and me, the taxpayers of Rockdale County. We think that it's bad now. And especially when you're looking at, if you're a combined tax increase, if you live in all three, if you live in the city, of course, and you live in the county, and the Board of Education is they tax you. That's like at a 41% tax increase if you live in those three. If you live just in the county, You get the BOE and the Board of Commission increase, which is 31%, right at 31%, guys. And next year, you will not get the governor's $500 exemption. You're most likely not going to get the 100% of the host. They raised taxes so much this time that even though we're getting more from host, it actually is less. They actually have used that same verbiage when they passed this, that because values increased and taxes increased, it appears that you're getting less. It doesn't appear that you're getting less. You are actually getting less, guys. This is totally ridiculous. This is something we can't tolerate in this county any longer. And how do we not tolerate it? We not tolerate it by not electing the post one and the chairman back to the county commission. And we do it by not, I repeat, not sending the same people back to sit on the Board of Education. We all know I'm running for the Board of Education. I've offered myself up for that position to be able to help the citizens of Rockdale County and the students of Rockdale County fare better, and your tax dollars be spent wiser. And I believe we can do more with less. So, guys, we've got to really look at what's going on in Rockdale County. The chairman says in a statement that he made after they passed this, he said that these were things, a lot of the infrastructure problems that we had, because a lot of citizens said they would rather see infrastructure be handled rather than build a courthouse administrative complex and do some of the things they're doing with the money. They would rather see some infrastructure handled. And he said, well, these infrastructure things are things that this administration inherited. Let's be frank about something. Let's be totally real. The chairman was part of that past administration. He was the post one commissioner for the 8 years that Richard Odom was chairman. The chairman was part of the previous administration. The chairman has been at the head of this administration. The chairman has been part of the Board of Commission at the end of next year. Right now, he has sat on that board for 15 years. At the end of next year, he will have sat on that board for 16 years. He will have been the post one commissioner for 8 years. And at the end of next year, he will have served as the chairman for 8 years. So when he starts talking about this not being responsible or not being able to have done things about the previous administration, I want to call that out as what it is. It's a load of crap, because he was part of the previous administration. He has sat on that board for going on 16 years and wants to pretend that he's got nothing to do with the past. 16 years, that's nearly 2 decades. This individual has sat on this board and pretends that he has nothing to do with the past. He has everything to do with the past, because he's the biggest part of the past. He has sat on that board longer than any individual that's on that board right now. So to try to say he doesn't have anything to do with the past is ridiculous. He's part of the big problem we have in Rockdale County, because he's been on that board for going on 2 decades. He's had an opportunity to make change. He's had an opportunity to do right and good things for this county, and he's done nothing but self-motivated things. He has benefited personally. He has prospered personally. And anytime that you're a politician and you're in one of these positions and you gain wealth and you're an elected official, something's not right. It's not right, guys. That's not a position that you should be able to gain wealth from. It's not. So, guys, what we need to do is we need to make change happen. How do we make that change happen? We make that change happen by not sending back these characters to the office that they're in now. Let's just talk about it again. They claim that they're going to give us 100% of the host money back. but it's only 64.8%. They claim, you're going to get the governor's $500 exemption. They claim that it all looks like less because of the increased value and the increased taxes. Can I tell you something? When they start blaming the increased property values for your woes, they are just making things up. The only reason your taxes increased is because they decided to do it. And that's the Board of Commission, Board of Education, and the city counters, any municipality. They decided to use the millage rate as a multiplier against those values to raise your taxes. So when they keep saying, well, it's not our fault, it's because values increased. Well, just because values increased doesn't mean that they have to raise taxes. That millage rate, which is a multiplier, can be used to multiply up or multiply down. As easily as they can make taxes increase, they can set a millage rate that will decrease taxes. And that is the issue. So, guys, we've got to look at this. Corliss, you just mentioned the infrastructure problem have been there for years. So, and I want to talk about this again. The chairman has been on the Board of Commission for going on 16 years. And he keeps trying to blame the previous administration when he was part of the previous administration. He was the post one commissioner during Chairman Oden's tenure. That means he was part of that administration. He then became the chairman and the head of the administration for this next 8 years. So the chairman has been part of the problem with our infrastructure for nearly 2 decades now. Do you guys, let me ask you, if he's been on the board this long and he's not accomplished what he wants to accomplish, he's never going to accomplish what he says he wants to accomplish. He's never going to help you. He's going to accomplish what he wants to accomplish. He's going to accomplish building this administrative building that they have sold as a judicial complex, which if something is 35% a judicial complex, it is not a judicial complex. If it is 65% an administrative complex, then that means it is an administrative complex with a side of courthouse. That's what I've always referred to this as. It's an administrative complex with a side of courthouse. They are not going to address any of the issues that they claimed they needed these hundreds of millions of dollars for this courthouse complex. They are not going to fix security issues. They're not going to fix the old building issue. They're going to still be in the old building. That's not going to change. None of that is going to change, guys. These guys have done nothing but a smoke and mirror thing to the citizens of Rockdale County. And with this nonsense that they've just pulled, with the millage rate and with the host, and with you guys wait till next year. Next year, taxes are going to balloon because of this pretend thing that they've done. Taxes are going to balloon because you're not going to have the governor's $500 exemption. You are not going to have 100% of the millage of the host again. You guys, we are in for a world of hurt because this tax increase, we are going to really realize how much it is next year. And then let me tell you what they're going to do. Then they're going to compound it and raise it again, because they're going to have to raise it again, because that's about the time they start issuing bonds and have to start making payments. Guys, enough is enough. Rockdale County, what do we need to do? We need to vote these individuals out. Doug, you want details. The details are this. There'll be candidates on the ballot in May. We'll have to decide who we want to vote for other than the incumbents. It'll be up to those candidates to run campaigns to let you know who they are. And it'll be up to citizens like you and me to push candidates other than the incumbents, to educate our fellow citizens about candidates other than the incumbents. That's what it comes down to. We're going to have to do this. We're as citizens of Rockdale County, we're going to have to take charge. Alex, that's a good question. I'm going to put this up here. Uh, I want to know if they're including all these empty condos and townhomes in their tax digest. That'll be an interesting thing to know if they're doing that or not. Well, I know this, Al. They don't qualify for the exemptions. If they probably are collecting taxes on them, but they don't qualify for the exemption because no one lives in them to be eligible for a homestead exemption. And if they're rental units, they're not eligible at all. Only the ones that are going to be purchased. So it's very interesting to see what I think they're using. Alex says he thinks they're using dodgy numbers and dodgy accounting to dilute the host. I agree 1,000%. They're using dodgy numbers to dilute the host because those housing units that are unoccupied can't be used for a host deduction. First, you have to qualify. You have to qualify for a homestead exemption before you get a host exemption. So I don't think I don't believe it. If they, Alan, and like I mentioned, I think before you came on, the host collection was like 18 and a half, 19 million previous. It's now 23. And those are accurate numbers because they mirror the SPLOS because it's penny for penny. So what SPLOS collections are what host collections are. So SPLOS collections have increased from 18 and a half to 19 to 23. So we're looking at around a $5 million increase from last year in also the host collections. So so that's that 5 million extra. So we've got to really, really, really focus on what's going on. Let's see, Cherokee Ellen makes a comment here. So you vote them out by helping candidates like Larry get elected. Help the campaign by knocking doors, phone banking, and yes, donations. Support is spelled with a dollar sign. That is correct, Cherokee Ellen. Thank you for that. And that goes to part of that goes to answering Doug's question about what to do and such. So guys, this is absolutely ridiculous. And Alex, you and I discussed this a little bit. And we both feel that the calculations that the county are using to try to say they're doing this 100% thing and everything, I don't feel the numbers are accurate. And you, from your conversation I had with you, you don't think they're accurate either. And then with your comment about dodgy accounting, you don't think that it's accurate either. So I think that it's very interesting as to what this county is doing and how they're behaving. Guys, this is just crazy. I think we do really need to look at these numbers. We've talked about a forensic audit in the past. If there's time for an audit, it would be time after next year. I think that there are some math issues to look into, as Xander Mack just said. We've all talked about, what would it take to get this group of individuals in trouble? I think this math that they're using this year with these equations, it could be that proposal, that thing that they do that could get them in trouble. Because it just if it doesn't sound right, then 99% of the time it's not right, guys. This is really crazy. And I think the citizens of Rockdale County, we need to really do a deep dive into these numbers, ask some questions, and demand full disclosure of what's going on with these numbers because they just don't add up. You're getting 100%, but it's only 64.8%. And even though you got 75% last year, proportionally, you're getting more this year, even though it's less. Oh, and also, by the way, we collected $5 more million out of that fund, but you're still getting less, even though we're giving you more. Guys, let's be real. In the chat, Does that sound right to you? Does any of that sound right? Plus, the governors and the legislature are giving you a $500 additional exemption if you have a homestead exemption. So, we're getting all these exemptions, but our taxes went up. Our tax, the amount you paid over last year went up. And then the excuse we get is this: well, it's because your value increased. And like I've told you guys 1,000 times, just because the value increases does not mean the tax burden has to increase. The millage rate is nothing more than a multiplier. And if the multiplier can make something go up, it can make something go down. So what do you do? Charlotte says there is no legal reason to give 100%. You know what, Charlotte? They don't actually have to give you 1%. It's not how the legislation, but people think that there's this thing in the legislation that says they have to give you a certain percent or this or that. There's not. If they decide they don't want to give you anything, they don't have to. But this is the crazy thing about it. You guys are all aware of this. No matter how they split the money up, the county still gets 100% of the host collection. It's just if they want to apply it against your taxes so that you don't have to pay as much, because they could decide they're not going to apply any of it to your taxes, and then they give you a tax increase by not giving you any of the exemption. So, guys, this is crazy. They could take that whole 23 million, not give you any of it as an exemption, and then still make you pay all those taxes. They could actually do that. That's exactly what they could do. Yes, Ellen, I'm going to put this up here. And the $500 that the governor is giving back is just like the $23 million that we're giving ourselves. This is money that we've paid that they're just giving back to us. It's all it is. And that's like the $23 million host. It's a 1 penny tax that we voted to tax ourselves to give back to ourselves for tax relief. But let's think about it. If the county decides to keep the money and just put it, to what they call capital expenditure, and not put any of it against the exemption, then you have to pay the total bill. Because when they decide not to give some of that money, all they're doing is raising the taxes in a sneaky way. So they're going to, Alex, let me put that. They're going to claim we allocated 100% in tax relief. Many of these new dwellings didn't require relief. 1,000%, Alex. So, they're going to have to show me, because actually William Campbell and I discussed this. And the only way that their numbers could be accurate is if that many more people applied and qualified for the host credit. Bill and I don't believe that many more people applied and qualified, but we think that's what they're going to say. They're going to say that they had an increase in the number of individuals that applied for and were granted the homestead exemption, and now qualify for the host exemption. That's I don't believe that's accurate. I think as Alex says, we've got some dodgy numbers that are coming into play. We got some funny numbers. We just call it funny money. So they're playing with funny money. Ellen, that Cherokee Ellen, this is right. So a penny, 1%. It sounds small, but 1% is $100K in $1,000. So that's right. So guys, you got to look in $100,000. It's $1,000. A penny adds up quicker than you think it does. A penny ends up being a whole lot of money. No, and Alex, and that's something that William Campbell and I discussed today too. Valid point. And you don't get the homestead exemption in the first year of your ownership. It's the second year of your home ownership that you get the exemption. So a lot of these homes, they're not even built, they're not even completed yet. So there's no way they qualify. And there's just, guys, we are being played in Rockdale County. The Rockdale County citizen is being played by this Board of Commission. And they think, and this is the same group of individuals who wants to talk about misleading information, not understanding the process, not understanding the programs. Well, the problem I think they have is more of us understand the process and the programs than they think do. And we know that what they're saying is not practical, logical, or legal. Practical, logical, or legal. None of what they're saying. We are being just manipulated here, guys. Just manipulated, and the math doesn't add up, guys. It just does not add up. So we need to do some things, people. We need to realize we have options. Doug, this is the thing about it. We all know who needs to be voted out: Sherry Washington and Oz Nesbitt. I don't think that's the big secret, but who to vote for, that is going to be the big problem, because people have got to decide right now. We did have six, now we have five people running for post one, and we have three people, including the chairman, running for the chairman's race. And it's going to be up to voters like me and you and other people to actually to spread the word and decide who we're going to vote for in that primary, because let's just be real about it. We've got to decide these elections in the primary, because a Republican is not going to win an election in Rockdale County. That's the cold, hard facts. The winner of the Democrat primary in May is the winner of the election. So for me, I think you've got to look at um, Modessa Ahmad for chairman. And as far as for post one, right now, I think the field is just too many. Not a lot of people. We don't know a lot about a lot of the candidates yet, and I think they're going to have to come out and decide. But for me, the post one Board of election, there's only one person that I believe in, and that's Larry Cox. I'm not going to hold anything back about that. There's one candidate that I believe in running for post one Board of Education, and that's Larry Cox. I intend to vote for Larry Cox, and I hope you intend to vote for Larry Cox. That's what I intend to do. So that's what I would like to say. Alex, I want to put this up here because I actually said this also when I was talking about it. So you mark my words, for the next fiscal report, there's going to be a host surplus, and they'll claim they gave us 100%, but will turn out that they kept 30% for themselves. I talked about that the other day. And when William Campbell and I were talking, that they can't say that they purchased anything through host funds next year because they were supposedly not collecting them. But that's 23 million. But what if they collect 26 million and they have an overage? And that's the thing, guys, that what they've been doing all these years, they've always got an overage above the amount they estimated, and they never tell us what they've done with the overage. Never. In the SPLOST, we always know what the overage is, and it's accounted for, and it's there as a surplus. But in the host, the overage is never accounted for, and we're never told what they've done with it or how they allocated it. Never. Not one single time. The host is like this secret money that it's like play money that you don't need to know about it. We'll tell you about it maybe. We won't tell you about it. That's exactly, the host money is the play money. That's the monopoly money that the county uses. That's their special play monopoly money that you and I don't need to know anything about. So, guys, I'm telling you right now, we can make a difference in Rockdale County. We make a difference by voting out the incumbents. We need to vote out incumbents. And guys, it's a little early. Just to let you know, it's a little early to decide what we want to do with with uh, with who we're going to vote for, other than I think myself and Mr. Ahmad. The post won just a whole lot of people out there. But I think as the first of the year comes and January and February hit, this show I will be more interactive about who you should vote for, and don't wait, and show your support, put a yard sign, give a donation. After the first of the year, I think we'll really come out heavy talking about that kind of stuff. So that's what I think we need to do. But guys, I think here in Rockdale County, we're on this cliff, and we can decide to walk back the other direction, or keep electing these psychos and just drop off the edge. It's plain and simple, and it's that easy. So I've been on here for 30 minutes, ranting and raving and generating a thirst. I'm going to thank each and every one of you for joining me tonight. I'm going to thank you for tolerating my craziness and just going overboard. 741. Thank you, Cheryl, for putting it up before I get off of here. This coming Thursday at the library, I think it's at 5:30 p.m. There will be a 741 town hall hosted by a representative, Rhonda Taylor. Don't forget to get out there and support that legislation, because it'll help every one of us. Show up, let your voice be heard, and let Rhonda Taylor know you appreciate her introducing that legislation to expand the commission board and to do away with the all-powerful chairman, the Wizard of Oz. So, guys, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I hope to see you next week. No, let me take that back. I'm going on vacation next week. I won't be here. So it'll be the following week that I'll be here. So let me go ahead and real quick look up the date that I'm going to be here. So I will not be here on the 3rd. So join me back here on the 10th, on September the 10th, and we'll go in depth and talk more about your taxes, incompetent leadership, and why you should vote for Larry Cox, Board of Education, Post 1. Thanks and good night.